allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, well, we'd like to start the meeting tonight with a presentation from our robotics team. They're here to present tonight. We're so proud of their accomplishments. So I'd like to have the teacher and our assistant coach come forward and explain what's happening so we can celebrate their success. So, if you introduce yourself and tell us what's the next step in your journey here.
Our team is 46390C, and we're pretty happy. And we're made to world.
Mid to world.
So tell your name, tell your role on the team.
I'm Lance. I'm the driver, builder, and coder.
I'm Orion, I'm a scout and I'm
I'm also a scout and coder.
I'm Elise, I'm the backup builder and the scout. Well, before we did V5, this is our first year of V5. So last year we all did the IQ, which is basically this, but a different game where you're going with someone, not against people, and it's plastic pieces that just snap together and not screwed in together.
So what it was before was IQ, which we were able to build those robots built easily. So we thought that would be for this, but it was not that easy. It took quite a bit of time. So we didn't have that much time to practice.
What went well this year?
Doing good in skills to get to state, and then getting hurt to a good team, so we could get to world too.
Talk to us about the judges award you guys received.
Talk about both.
Yeah.
So this is the Great Award, which is from Robot Design, which is also from judging too. Then this is the judging award.
The judging award is so we do this interview and they see what each person on the team does and how we work together and where we got our ideas from and get a little bit to know you.
Talk about your interview tonight. Oh yeah, we had an interview for Worlds today, and it's digital, not like all our other interviews, like at state, we have to go in person, to actually talk to them face to face. But for our interviews for Worlds, we have to do it on camera, 10 to 15 minutes, right? And send it in digitally.
All of you or each one?
All
Okay. It's all 6 of us. There's all of you. Yeah.
You go at the end of April.
Yep, it's a 3-day tournament. We're going to be competing at Worlds in St. Louis all day long. Yeah. How do you guys? We're all together. Yeah.
How many teams do you know?
583, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. So at competitions, there's not a ton of middle school V5 teams, so they have to go against high schoolers a lot. So most of the season, they were a little down and frustrated, thinking they weren't doing so good. We kept saying, "You guys are doing amazing. You're going against high schoolers." And I think the first middle school competition, they were kind of like, "Oh, we're pretty good." Yeah. So they've been working hard and went from IQ to V5, which is an IQ robot you can build in days. Yeah. This.
It takes 2 months.
Yeah. And then they didn't realize to test everything when they were building it, so they get to the end and oh, the beginning steps didn't work. We had to take it all apart. So it's been a challenge. Yeah. But they all said they want to do V5 again next year, so they like it. In middle school, you can still do IQ. This is the harder one. So they like it.
Now, can we see this move or would that be the?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, on the ground.
Pick up the ball, do this thing, and you can launch them all through that arm.
Into the two.
Yeah.
This was much faster than last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great job.
Very
Alex.
nice.
That's pretty cool.
You should be very proud. I mean, worlds 2 years in a row, that's something to talk about. That's great. Good job.
And experience you'll always remember, and kudos to the coaches.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, thank you
Yeah, thank you,
guys.
coaches.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
guys,
much.
guys. Very proud of you.
Hey, we gotta go prepare.
Thank you.
Good
Good
luck
luck,
tonight.
good luck in your interview.
Thank you. I'll get your stuff.
Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Oh, that way? Smart. Go to the door.
Okay, we'll continue moving on with tonight's meeting with the consent items. The first item will be the approval of the minutes from the planning board report.
We'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so approved. Moving on to the next consent item would be for the claims approval.
Make motion to approve claims. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Next consent item for this evening would be the payroll approval.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so approved. Then we'll move on to personnel. If there are no certified personnel items tonight, the next would be for the classified items. And we have several employment approval. First would be the approval of a special education program.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so approved. The next would be for the approval of Chris McCollum as the boys varsity golf coach.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. The next would be for the approval of Dana Kaiser, Jen Wrinkle, Sam Weller, and Matt Bozeman as the track coaches.
I'll make the motion to approve them.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Then moving on to approval of Keely Macca as a volunteer, Mitchell Willis as a volunteer, Derek Logston and Blaine Russ as assistant baseball coaches.
I'll make a motion to approve them as assistant baseball coaches.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aaron and Stanley. Aaron and
Thank you for noting that. Moving forward for the approval of moving Rebecca Henderson from study to long-term ELA substitute.
I'll make a motion to approve, removing Rebecca to, long-term building.
And then we'll second that.
All approved?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. There are no adjustments for this evening. And then we move on to public comments. And one note, when we move forward to the board comments, I do have a note of the community schoolhouse update on behalf of the board. So we get close to that item on the board comments, but are there any other public comments this evening?
I'm sorry, I couldn't read it.
When we get to the public comments, I do have something to read on behalf of the board to the community schoolhouse project. We'll start with a list for public comments, and again, as a reminder, we have 3 minutes allocated for each of those who wish to speak. The first person to speak to sign up tonight would be Mr. James Shealy.
Well, maybe I'll defer until I hear what you have to say.
If you want tonight, I mean, since we're at this point, if you'd like to just share anything you'd like to, I think hopefully we're addressing everything that you're considering now.
Well, I hope that did you develop the board get this article that's in Michigan City?
Yes.
In the paper on Michigan City and another Northwest Indiana Works, a nonprofit, have gone together and formed together, and they're doing exactly at Elston School, hopefully, and that's what we want to do in the cross. So it could be done, and I don't know how, whoever worked it out, they worked out a team to do it together, and, so it is possible to do this, and I just want to make sure you guys saw this article. And then also too, we submitted this plan to the community school, so we have a 2-year plan, projected plan for, SARA, and also for funding. And just want to make sure you board got copies of that. So see that we have a plan, and we want to move forward and get actively started.
We got everything.
And I know tonight, like we said last board meeting, you're gonna let us know where we stood on that. That's something about that.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Next, we also have somebody sign up, Mr. State Oath.
Good evening, board members. It's Dave Ozer. I don't have much to say from the last time, much more to say, except that I'm here because I want to represent to you that interest in La Crosse High School extends beyond La Crosse and Tri-Township because the structure is significant to La Crosse County history, including its architectural history. As he said, as I said before, it was built by Larson Danielson. I had this from last time. It was one of the earliest commissions. We built other high schools, but most or all, still researching it, are gone. As previously stated, this one is built like a tank. It estimates it cost over $500,000 to remove. Might the school board instead consider putting half those costs into the not-for-profit or a public partnership with Town of La Crosse and other not-for-profits? Give community schoolhouse a chance. Give us a chance. Suggest that you can always make contractual arrangements for appropriate clawback if we fail, but we won't. Understand the need for potential protections to show how serious we are in fundraising ability. I was willing to make a pledge. Others only want to do that when they see title transferred, I'm sure, and then the community schoolhouse possesses. The building will be the common memory of the people of La Crosse for years to come, and it is hardly a white elephant. It is repurposable for another 100 years or more. By any reasonable measure, it is the heart and soul of the La Crosse community, and a common purpose and common destiny of the people of La Crosse. It means so much to so many. It should rightly be overseen by the stewardship of the community it is in, now that it is no longer being used as part of the Tri-Township school system. I respectfully submit to you that this is a social, moral, ethical, and even spiritual imperative. I would urge you to entertain that you have a responsibility to create, you have the opportunity to create a sense of continuity with decades and decades of the school corporation of being a part of that, the community there, and that there's a responsibility to continue the continuity of the memories of the people of the area. I'm asking the board to invest in this, the future of La Crosse. And if you are willing to convey title to the school, to community schoolhouse tonight, I'm going to a financial contribution to the affirmation and partnership. Thank you.
Next, for the sign up for the comments with Mr. John Watson.
Thank you. I should have went first. John Watson. I'll keep it brief. I come from the construction world. It seems to me like it would be a common sense decision for to deed this over to the town of La Crosse. I don't know how familiar you are with Mr. Shealy. He has an awesome track record. I don't know if you've been down to the hangar and or if you remember what that was like 15 years ago. It's a thriving entity for the town. I believe that he could do the same with the school. And I think La Crosse needs it. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly, please.
I'm reading a letter on behalf of the town of La Crosse.
So the town of La Crosse is pleased to share a proposal this evening to invest nearly $300,000 in improving the area around the proposed community schoolhouse project and the Tiger Deck. We've listened carefully to the feedback from school officials, and we are seeking to create an exciting opportunity for both community schoolhouse and Tri-Township in a way that improves the La Crosse downtown. The town's proposal would repave 1,700 linear feet of Oneida and Michigan streets, which are the ones around school, with improvements that would include new dedicated street parking as well as drainage upgrades. The town would also commit to paving the parking lot to the north of the school building, as well as creating a new paved designated parking spaces in the town lot, half a block south of the Tiger Den. By project completion, there will be at least 175 parking spaces within a 1-block radius of the Tiger Den, more than enough for the busiest of all days. Additional investments include sidewalks, street lighting, and street trees that would make the space around the high school building and gymnasium safer and more inviting. This package of investments would also support parking accessibility to downtown businesses like the Lambs and the Hainer. We feel confident this proposal will aid community schoolhouses grant writing and fundraising efforts by showing there is a major financial commitment. But here's the thing, while this funding is already secured, it is COVID-19 relief funding, and it must be spent in the downtown, because that's how we had it earmarked, and all done by the end of this calendar year. The school board previously indicated it was willing to transfer the La Crosse High School building to community schoolhouse, and so as long as it is willing to still do so, the town will quickly get to work moving forward with this package of investments. However, there's a short window of time to implement this work, so if the school district plans to go in a different direction, or is uncertain about how it will proceed, then the town will have to revert back to the other downtown projects that have been being considered. Over the past decade, when the town of La Crosse has set its mind to something, it has gotten it done. Over $14 million in investments that range from new water plant, new water lines, new sidewalks, new parks, new apartments, and a new Dollar General, which is a pretty one at that. The Sheelys have demonstrated their ability to get things done, and we've seen this with the Hainer and with the restaurant and the apartments. The town, with all of its energy and grant writing experience, is fully behind community schoolhouse's vision. We think it is an exciting way to preserve our town's history and bring new assets into our community. And we hope that you're just as excited about preserving and making that history. When you get to the bottom meeting tonight, we ask you to send a clear message about the future and the direction of the La Crosse High School building and lend your support to community schoolhouses. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have 5 seconds to spare.
I started to speed up.
I don't want this time.
Next up, we have signing up for this evening, Mr. Alan Stevens.
Mr. President, you had mentioned you were going to read a letter out of the project, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't my letter from South County.
No, it was not.
Okay.
We were on.
I didn't want to read. Yeah, I'm Alan Stevens, I'm president of South County Community Coalition. I had emailed Dr. McNulty, and I didn't have your official, I got all your official emails now here in the agenda, but I had a dog's breakfast of emails for 5 board members, so maybe they got the letter, maybe they didn't. If I may, I'm going to read this into the record. Dear Dr. McNulty and board members, on behalf of the South County Community Coalition, a nonprofit that represents the interests of the 7 southernmost townships in LaPorte County, I am writing to convey our support of the Community Schoolhouse Organization's initiative to find a reuse for the historic La Crosse High School building. The organization's efforts to find a new purpose for the beloved schoolhouse, particularly by seeking partnerships with healthcare and adult education providers, are admirable. The development of these services strengthens our rural communities and fosters an environment of growth that we know your school district is eager to see happen. Likewise, developing rural healthcare offerings and increasing employment opportunities in our small towns is of great importance to us. We know there will be challenges in the process of furthering community schoolhouse's vision, as is often the case with most meaningful or community initiatives. We are eager to help in any way we can, and as a sign of support, the South County Community Coalition has recently donated $500 to community schoolhouse.
So often, community development initiatives struggle to find qualified individuals that are interested in doing the hard work of developing and delivering projects. The Shealy family has demonstrated their commitment to improving the South County community through multiple development projects, especially through its ownership of the Hangar, a local restaurant that attracts diners from all around the area, as well as 4 beautiful apartment units providing additional housing opportunities for families. We urge you to not let this opportunity fall by the wayside. Thank you.
I really appreciate these before continuing moving on to tonight's meeting, we'll put report on the first one to the rest of the report.
Hello, good evening. I want to talk about some celebrations. I want to celebrate the elementary robotics team, but I'll let Mr. McMahon cover that a little bit more because we did have the elementary make it to state, and he's the one who wrote all the grants that we could even have a robotics team, and we flipped a coin and he won, so he went down there to cheer him on. So I'll let him talk about that, but I am super proud of the elementary students that participated. I want to give a shout out to our PE teachers, Mr. Sam Weller. He participated with our students in the Kids Heart Challenge for the American Heart Association, and with their efforts, they raised $1,500 for the American Heart Association. I'd like to give a shout out to our 2nd grade teacher, Ms. Troush, our 3rd grade teacher, Ms. Smith, and our Title I instructor, Ms. Kaiser, for all their efforts. We took the iRead for 2nd and 3rd graders in the early part of March, and scores will be released later, but so far it's looking like we have some really good results. So that's exciting for all their efforts and using data and interventions, and I think we'll have a strong case here. I'd also like to give a shout out to our PTO. They put on our annual PTO Carnival Fun Fair. A special thanks to Christina McMahon, our president, and Sam Kaiser and Charla Messner, because they spent hours decorating and planning everything, getting sponsors. And also during that fun fair, our librarian, Mrs. Malky, she held a scholastic book fair, and parents spent over $4,000. So that's really exciting because I feel like they're going to go home and make their kids read or read with their kids. But also with that amount of money spent, we were able to purchase $1,952.44 of new books for our library. So almost $2,000 worth of new books for the kiddos. And then I want to talk about our professional development last Friday. It was our last session with Smekins writing program, amazing program. We finished the year kicking off the new year. So our presenter went over all the details for how the teachers will start their writing program next fall. She had everything ready for them. All they had to do, everything's in Google Drive. Everything's labeled and in folders and month by month categories. All they had to do is click on it to see mini lessons, video clips, writing prompts, and then they have little assessments for them to give, and it's all 3 different genres, and all of that will prepare them for the iLearn test. So that was a really good professional development for our teachers. And speaking of iLearn, we will be taking iLearn on April 20th through the 25th. So send good vibes to our students and our teachers. And lastly, we had our awards banquet last week. We celebrated our 5th and 6th grade girls basketball team. They made it to the semifinals in the PCC tournament, and they received we had a lot of cheerleaders. They received cute little awards, so that was a fun night. And lastly, we had our pre-K and kindergarten roundup. We had almost 16 families show up, and we're continuing to promote that program and get all the families to join Tri-Township. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we had 2 teams make it to the state robotics tournament. The team that was here, it was our middle school team that made it, and then we had 1 elementary team, 46390B. Max Kaiser, Bentley McMahon, and Michael Hughes was on that team. So 120 teams made it out of the state. There's just over, I think, 500 elementary teams total. So we had a couple teams that missed it by like 2 or 3 spots of making it to state. So very competitive again this year. And the boys did okay at state. They didn't get a very good draw of their teammates throughout the day. I was proud of them though, and I know Coach Sani was proud of how they just acted throughout the day, having a
not the best draw of teams. We had our drama production last weekend, and it was amazing. Rain Skidmore, who I'm going to bring to our next board meeting, did an awesome job being a senior, working with third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders. I was talking to Mr. Moss today and told her there's some sixth graders that have really grown. Like they've been in it since third grade, and now in sixth grade, they look like they're in high school already. They've already done almost eight productions out for some of them. So just a really good job. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And then our go-kart team, they are finally built, and they've been racing them up and down the road right here in front of the school. When they first started, they were about 40 miles an hour. I think they got them up to about 49 now. So they're doing a lot of the mechanical work and getting the gear ratio right. And so they're about a month away from competing down at Purdue. So we're going to bring them, and hopefully they can carry one in here so we can see it firsthand at the next board meeting. That one of the issues we've had is they got to turn it and carry it outside. It's a little wider than what the door is, but we got strong enough boys in there, so they're doing great. But we have two drivers, Alden McCormick and Ty Sikora, so they've been spending a lot of time driving up and down the road. And Cody Vernich is now our crew chief as well. It's been a lot of fun for them. They'll go down to Purdue 2 more times before they race to get used to it, but there are about 40 race cars, I think, down there. We'll be taking 2. I think we're only going to take 1, possibly might take both. Just want to make sure we're ready because it is definitely going to be a different experience for them. So we have 10, first week of May. Yeah, it's during all of them are during the school day, so the boys really like it because then they get to miss school to go down there and race. But it should be a really good time. So they've been working really hard. Yeah. So earlier this month, the juniors completed the SAT assessment, and we'll get results this week. So looking forward to that as we implemented a new kind of approach this year of doing some weekly prep sessions during the spring semester, and then talking to some other schools during the fall season. We're looking at making a change next year of giving it like 3 times throughout the year practice test, and starting with freshmen so that they can see what it looks like, and then they'll take it 3 times a year. So by the time they take it their junior year, they've taken 5 or 6 practice tests before that. So that's kind of the plan for that. We had signed on with 220 Learning back in November for our work-based learning simulations and some AI classes. And I've been working with them because the digital learning grant is out for the state of Indiana. And so we are applying for that. So I've been working with them so that we can apply for that grant with the hope that it will cover the cost of the 220 Learning, which then would open up that money for any other programming that we want to add. And then going along with that, work-based learning opportunities. Thank you to Dr. McNulty for working with Skillman. We have a couple internships for our students this summer here on campus. And so we have some kids that are really excited about that. They're paid internships, so they're really excited that they're going to get paid for doing it. And then we're also looking at internal internships next year because we do have some kids that can't drive. And so we're looking at maybe maintenance, kitchen staff, athletic office, IT. So we're looking at all those places of using kids for those jobs as well. Because there's a big push in work-based learning now. They want every kid to pretty much have 75 hours throughout their high school career. So once they start their freshman year, they can count any hours. It can be during the school year, it can be during the summer, but we have to have a action plan, and then we have to track all of that. So Mrs. Urban and I have been working towards that of getting the juniors and seniors set up for next year. And then right after break, we will start iLearn as well for 6th grade through 8th grade. So it will count for service-based learning. So I can use it for that, for the grad pathways. So.
To that point, you can hear that from the community, we are definitely seeking opportunities for students and new placements. So if we have something in communications or agriculture or business or restaurant, we're always looking for placements for our students. Appreciate it.
That's all I have.
Deputy Superintendent's report.
Okay, so as you've heard, we've had a very busy and productive month in March. Our students have had the opportunity to participate, compete, and perform this month. And they've all risen to the challenge and have done extremely well. We're very proud of them and the staff supporting these efforts. And we're definitely keeping our PR consultant, Ms. Chelsea, busy with all the great news coming out of our school. I want to let you know that we just finished both of our ECA, which is our extracurricular activities audit, as well as our regular audit with the State Board of Accounts. And I'm happy to report that both audits were stellar, and our school corporation had 0 findings in the ECA account and a couple of very minor clerical things to fix in the regular audit, which is normal. The auditors praised us, and so we did a great job. And I want to give a special acknowledgement both to Dara Lewis, our deputy treasurer, and to Amy Wozniak. It's a ton of work to go through an audit while continuing to do your job at the same time, and they both have handled it well, and obviously you're doing a good job in their day-to-day responsibilities. So thanks to both of them, and good job to our audit. You may have noticed the new grass outside on the field and new track. We have begun our capital improvements that are now that the weather is breaking. The track is nearly complete and is in much better shape than it was a year ago. We will be accepting bids for the projects that we have posted, and the bid opening will be April 21st at 1 o'clock here in the cafeteria. We encourage any of our local contractors who are interested to please look out on our website. Thank you.
Thank you. We move on to the action items for this evening. The first will be the moving to May 25th to May 18th due to the Memorial Day holiday. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. And then the next will be to approve the 26th, 27th board meeting schedule. Motion approved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Are there any discussion items tonight by the board? Then we'll move on to the board comments. And under the board comment section, I guess maybe I should start off with this needed to address the many that spoke tonight. But I appreciate everybody's comments. Back in April of 2024, the school board publicly stated our intent to see the lacrosse school portion of the building to the community schoolhouse group. Over the past year, the community schoolhouse has had time to begin securing financial support, developing a plan for how the building would be used, and working through items such as insurance and other operational needs. At this time, aside from the generous donation that was shared at last month's meeting, we have not yet seen significant progress on those next steps, which many of those were addressed this meeting. As a board, we have a responsibility to protect the financial stability of the district, make sound decisions for our students, and also ensure that we are planning responsibly for the future. We want to also be very clear. We remain supportive of finding a positive, productive use for the building that benefits the community, and we are willing to continue working with the community schoolhouse to move this forward. To do that, we will work with our board attorney and the community schoolhouse group to outline a deed transfer with appropriate conditions in place to protect the school district from liability. Those conditions would include such items as proof of insurance, acknowledgement that the community schoolhouse will be responsible for repairs and maintenance, and the transfer of utilities related obligations. We're hopeful about the possibility of the community schoolhouse repurposing this beautiful building for the benefit of lacrosse and the surrounding community, while understanding the board's responsibility to reach a timely, safe, and financially sound solution. We look forward to making positive progress together in the near future. That's something up for our board. So that's all we have on our main meeting. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned. So thank you for on that. We'll move on to the project here now.
Motion to open the project hearing. Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's a different tonight's project hearing open.
Okay, we have our bond counsel from East Miller here, and the representatives will let them continue over here.
Members of the board administration.
Good evening, my name's Dr. Winters. I work with Mr. McFarland at Ice Miller, and we serve as the school corporation on council. The next portion of the meeting for tonight is hold the project hearing. If you're interested in speaking at the hearing, please make sure you sign in on the sign-in sheet, and that should include your name and address. After a presentation by the school corporation administration and its advisors, there'll be an opportunity for the public to provide comment. We just ask that, or the school corporation just asks that each person limit their comments to 3 minutes, and the topic is limited to the proposed project. The purpose of the hearing tonight is because under Indiana code, anytime the school corporation proposes to construct, repair, or alter a school building at a cost in excess of $1 million to be financed using a lease or by issuing bonds, the school board must first hold a public hearing at which the potential value of the project is shared, as well as the public is given the opportunity to provide testimony and ask any questions. Just a reminder, the public hearing and the consideration of resolutions tonight is the very beginning of the legal process to complete the project. The adoption of the resolutions tonight doesn't obligate the school corporation to fund or complete the project. We'll now hear from Dr. McNulty about the project itself and the value of the project.
Okay, so this is part 2 of the bonds that we had in place to continue forward with the needed capital projects for a lot of the deferred maintenance that has been happening. So some of the things that are in target for the next bond would be again site improvements, which would include a new switch for this building. The switch that is in this building currently, I think, is the original, so it's over 50 years old. So it definitely needs to be updated. A new servers, cameras, purchase of buses moving forward, and the outside facade that we've been talking about. So definitely much needed projects, and we are looking at $3.845 million. Thank you.
We'll now hear from the school corporation's underwriter about the financial parameters of the project and the potential tax rate impact.
Good evening, Luke Bergman with Steve Foley, Service Bond underwriter for the school corporation. A couple slides in front of you just to show the financial impact of this proposed project. It should look pretty similar to what we went through last year. Again, just kind of the next step in that. So the first slide is the school corporation's current debt service fund levy. That's essentially a function of the school's outstanding debt payments, in fact, revenue and cash on hand that we have. But you'll see from 26 into future years that we do have some levy falling off, which helps mitigate the potential impact of this proposed bond issue. If you flip to the next slide, that illustrates the potential impact of the proposed $3,845,000 bond issue to be issued 2026. This graph really illustrates 2 things, or accomplishes 2 things. One, we want to step up the rate so that impact is felt incrementally to your taxpayers. But then secondly, want to make sure that we leave some capacity if there are needs. We know there's going to be ongoing needs that arise in the school corporation over the next 5, 10, 15 plus years. So trying to set you up for the future with the structure of this bond issue, so you're able to come back and do it within your future current debt service levy. So again, you'll see that here kind of beginning in your 2029 levy. We're also assuming an interest rate of 5% right now. If you sold bonds today, you're about a 4, 4.25. As Josh mentioned, this is the first step in the legal process. So we do try to be a little conservative early on, but just given that there are some steps to take before we actually sell and close on the bond issue. The last slide is the maximum legal parameters. At the top there, the maximum par amount has been mentioned, $3,845,000. With all these parameters, you can always come down from these numbers, but once they're set, you cannot go above them. The estimated cost of issuance underwriter discount is $145,000, leaving about $3.7 million for hard and soft project costs. Estimated interest rates of 2 to 7%. Again, if we sold bonds today, we're about 4 to 4.25.
The final maturity estimated would be 20 years or January 15, 2046. The maximum tax rate is 5.3640, but that does not factor in any levy falling off or prior debt payments falling off. Once you do factor that in, that's the net tax increase over 2026. Debt service fund tax rate, based on your current EV, that's 19 cents or 0.1906 per $100.
Can you speak briefly to it about why schools have to go for bonds and referendums?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think a lot of times in our personal life, everyone thinks you try to get out of bed as quickly as possible, unfortunately for schools. In a lot of other municipalities, you don't necessarily always have those dollars just available in your operations fund, especially when you're talking about large ticket items like replacing a roof for multiple $1 million or paving asphalt for a couple $100,000. Those things start to add up, new cameras. So you start to cover all of those together and it starts to be a pretty sizable amount that you just can't fund in your operations fund without completely deteriorating your operations fund, which pays for your utilities, maintenance, transportation, all of the day-to-day things kind of outside of the classroom to help the school corporation run. So schools issue bonds all the time throughout the year. And again, it's to fund those projects. It's not just to add on, build a new field house, build a new building. A lot of times what we're doing now is funding these preventive maintenance, deferred maintenance type items that may not be a lot in one individual item, but when you start to stack 6, 7 of them together, they start to be a pretty meaningful amount. So part of the structure that we put together there too is knowing that you're going to have those ongoing needs. So we're going to tackle a lot of those projects, but also leaving capacity to come back and tackling the additional needs that come up in the next 5 to 10 plus years.
One of the things that the board has done is very smartly decided to pursue building a bus port and put solar panels on top of it, so it's not unsightly because of the upcoming, the rise in the NIPSCO bills that we've all been suffering through. Because the solar panels will pay for 80% of the school's NIPSCO bill.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a huge win for the school district going forward. It's very smart decision.
We've always tried to do this all as possible, of course, before you based on previous conversation, where do we make this priority tax rate for the local?
You guys have always been near the bottom. I think actually the bottom of what Fort County is still kind of puts you in the bottom, maybe bottom middle part of it. So I mean, it's still well below a lot of your peers. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We will now open the public hearing. Remember, if you'd like to speak, please sign in on the sheet, include your name and address. As I mentioned earlier, just please limit your comments to the proposed project and the financing, and keep any comments to 3 minutes. Is there anybody that's signed in to speak? Is there anybody that would like to speak that hasn't signed in?
Can I just ask a question? You said a switch. I think there's one switch for somebody who doesn't know.
It's an electrical switch that, for like your electrical box at your house, and ours is over 50 years old.
It's the main feed in the
Yeah.
school.
Okay.
I mean,
So like I asked if you left the family.
Correct, yeah. Good question.
Anybody else like to speak or ask questions for that testimony? Okay. Yeah, just keep in mind this is, like I said earlier, the first step in the legal process. The board will continue to work with the administration and its advisors to be conservative with tax dollars and meet the educational needs of the district. We can go through the resolutions for consideration now. I can I give a brief explanation of each resolution, and then you all can vote on them if you'd like. So there's 4 resolutions. The first resolution tonight is the project resolution. It satisfies the requirement under Indiana code that before a school corporation constructs, repairs, or alters a school building with a total cost in excess of $1 million, and that cost is going to be financed using a lease agreement or by issuing bonds. The school board must first adopt a resolution that outlines the educational purpose of the project, the estimated construction cost of the project, and the estimated tax impact of the project. Both of those resolutions satisfy those requirements.
Thank you for the motion by the board for the approval of the adoption of that project resolution. Motion approved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so approved.
The second resolution is the resolution determining the need for the project. Under Indiana Code, before a school corporation can enter into a lease agreement to fund the project, the school board must first adopt a resolution determining that there's a need for the project.
Again, tonight, is there a motion for the approval of the resolution determining the needs for the project?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so approved.
The third resolution is a resolution approving the form of the Second Amendment for lease. This resolution satisfies the requirement under Indiana Code that before the school board can have a hearing on the Second Amendment for lease, the school board and the building corporation must first agree on the proposed terms and conditions of the Second Amendment for lease before you can hold that hearing. So this resolution is just a statement resolving that you and the building corporation are agreeing on the preliminary terms and conditions of the proposed Second Amendment for lease.
Make a motion to approve that.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so approved.
The final resolution is what we call the reimbursement resolution. Satisfies the federal tax law requirement that in order for the school corporation to be able to reimburse itself for any project costs you may incur before you actually close on the bonds and receive the bond proceeds, you must officially declare your intent to reimburse yourself from bond proceeds if and when those proceeds are received. So this is simply a statement, it's a reservation of rights resolution. Essentially, if you have any incur any costs from now until you close on the bonds, you'll be able to reimburse yourself for those costs.
You have a motion for the board for the adoption of the reimbursement resolution.
I'll make a motion. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. You have the motion for adjournment.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for your attendance. Appreciate it.